Hello, hi guys. It is beautiful to see everyone in the room already. Thank you so much for being here. Now we're just gonna do a little mic test to make sure that you can all hear this. So let me know if the sound is coming through okay. You know, is there sound? Can you hear it? Is it coming through all right? So just while we're all still landing, someone let me know in the comments, could you? And I'm asking because we've had some technical problems today. So I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, we're all right. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, guys, look, first things first. I don't know what's going on, but for some reason, GevaAnn is not able to, thanks, Carla, is not able to be with us today. I am so sorry. So I don't know why. We're not quite sure what's come up. There's a technical problem with her joining us today. And I know GevaAnn, and I know our long-term relationship. We've known each other for years. We've worked together for years. And if GevaAnn can't join the group, it's because there is a process that's in the way. There's something to happen. There is some core reason why there's something to resolve before she can fully step into this field and be part of the energy today. GevaAnn and I have this thing where our realities are set up so that if it's not in highest alignment for us to do something, usually we'll actually there'll be an intervention of some sort. Something will stop us from doing it, like the technology won't work. We have it on our phone calls. If we're focused in energy work and we wander off down the path like a couple of puppies talking about other things, the guides will interrupt the phone connection and the line will just beep until we realize that we've gone off piste and we need to come back into alignment. And when we do that, the phone connection starts again. So today we've got something like that, and I'm really, really sorry, but we haven't got her with us, and I am so sad because I was really excited about her joining in. What this means for all of us is that we've probably got a shorter session today. You might be happy about that. But what it also means is I'll hold a session today, but I don't want us to miss out because what GevaAnn brings is just, for me, so beautiful. She accesses so many different guides of unconditionally loving integrity. And she's in such high service, like constantly in such high service. So what I'm feeling to do is we'll create a bonus session, basically. We'll just create another session. She and I will get on to whatever the deep metaphysical reasons are for why she couldn't join today. And we'll fix the technical issues when we've done that. And we'll create an extra session where it's the two of us again. Okay, so how does that sound for people? Are you happy with that? I don't know when we'll do it. We'll work out scheduling. You know, maybe next Sunday, we'll see. But how is that for everyone if we just, yeah, we bring you something extra and go with what's today? That's beautiful. Thank you, guys, because now I can feel us. Oh, bless you. Thank you. So appreciated. Wow, you're all really great. Thanks so much for being flexible. Wonderful. Well, we'll sort out scheduling between us then and see what works, and we'll bring in an extra thing. Now we've got that out of the way, I can actually feel the field opening. So this would be the moment before we begin to get nice and comfy, to bring attention inwards, closing for a moment the outward facing eyes, letting our senses withdraw from listening to the outer environment and the world outside and bringing our senses inwards. until we feel like we're listening just to our breath. The noises in our body. Our heartbeat. And let's imagine we're almost straining our senses to listen, to inwardly listen to the blood pumping in our veins, to our hearts, beating out that rhythm, the little gurgles and movements the body's always making with all its industrious processes. Let's breathe all the way in for a moment. And as we bring our attention inwards, maybe letting attention rest on how the body sinks into the seat we're sat in, how the feet feel making contact with the floor, if that's where we're sitting. That's how we're sitting. And really appreciating that support. Just noticing while we do this if the breath slows, if it becomes more regular, what happens with it when we bring our attention inwards? Noticing perhaps if the body wants to relax. And giving permission for tension to drain out as though it's draining into the earth for the soil to renew. All those energies we're holding on to that we just don't need. Let's let them drain out of us. We give that back to Gaia and she can compost that. And it can return to us through the soles of our feet, healthy and renewed. You may want to place your attention on the soles of your feet. And now start to listen for the very subtle vibrations and movements deep inside the body, in the feet. Those subtle energy flows. You know, what's moving in the body? Not just the breath. What else is moving here now? I'm not trying to name it, I'm just listening. Letting it be nameless. And you'd be amazed, actually, the body starts to chatter sometimes when we do this. So if you find, that you're getting more gurgles than normal, that's one of the symptoms of deep inner body listening. The body starts to tell us all those things it's been stacking and waiting to share. So real attention on the lower body now, I think, or beginning, on the root, base of the spine, lovely foundation for our creating energy. And let's listen for aliveness. And let's, maybe you even feel to celebrate any aliveness that you do feel, sense inside. Just that life is here now. And in your own time, when you're ready, you can just relax, and give instructions for your attention to keep coming back, to rest inwardly, noticing how the body feels on the inside. Notice the sensation, breath in the body. Open to notice the sensations, the flow, the vibrations in the body and beyond the body. Doesn't matter if you do or don't get this, but and beyond the body. Let's give permission for that now. So we're just softening that boundary between the vibrations that are happening in the body and the vibrations that are happening in our extended field of awareness, in our energy fields. So let's melt and flow. Just a bit. Yeah. Beautiful. Before we go much further, this is where I would invite us to sit in the heart. Before we even bring in the guides, before we even open to receive the channeling, we can sit in the heart here now with intention to do that. Let go of whether it works. You can say, I rest in my heart and center now. If the mind bubbles away, no problem. Just a little bit of us will be sat where we've intended to be sat. Okay, we can open now to our highest connected heart's intentions for this session, for our lives now, and even for our loved ones. So let go of mentally searching for what our intentions are. Let's trust they're known, they're alive in our heart, in this connected heart gateway to the infinity we are. What we're calling for, what our soul is calling for, it's known in this moment. It lives in us. We're just coming to rest where those intentions are. Let's give ourselves some space to be with our intentions. And if we don't know about them, that's perfect. If some come in, that's perfect. But let's just say yes to calling in what's for us now. In the kindest way. Keep with this, because I can feel the love flooding into the field while we do this. Flooding in through your heart. Through your heart gateways. And from those who gather You come because of what we're calling in right now. And when you feel to, you can sound out a silent thank you in your heart space if you want that. Thank you. We don't need to know who we're thanking. Are we thanking the guides for helping us? Are we thanking our higher selves or love or all that is? We don't need to know. But we're calling something in, so let's say thank you silently, but with resonance. And let that thank you resonate through the body and through the energy field. Thank you. Yes, and thank you. Now there is the biggest expansion as we're doing this. I'm sensing this lovely, from where I'm sat, it looks like this beautiful golden white orb that's just expanding, and that's the space we're in. Expanding because of our thank you yes and what we're calling in. So if you want just to play, you can sense into the space, this field that we're sharing. Just open the senses to be aware that there is one. And maybe you have impressions. If you have a notebook to hand, you might even want to write down any impressions that come to you throughout this session. Inspiration, things that you want to remember. Don't try and write what's being said because there's a replay. But it's what comes through for you while we're sat together in this field. What do you notice? Don't worry about understanding what it means. Really let go of that. You don't always have to write it down, you might just want to notice. I'm going to share what I can see when I feel it's right to. But what comes to you is going to be unique to you. And that's really one of the purposes of coming together in a shared field. Each of us are like different notes in a song or different instruments in a band, There's this incredible moment, this sphere, this field. And in it, each of us are opening a little and connecting inwardly, opening to our guidance. And I'm going to say opening to our higher selves, which we'll touch on in a moment. Opening to guides of unconditionally loving integrity. And calling for what's for us. And I know we do this very quickly normally in these kinds of events, but we're slowing it right down now, giving each little element a bit of space so you can really be with it. This and deepen that contact of your inner awareness and how it shows up for you. Each of us are going to notice different things. So if we're all in the same room together, and let's say the room is it's a living room, and maybe there's two people talking over there, maybe something falls off a shelf over there, there's an interesting painting on the wall. You ask 4 people who are in that room what's in that room when they leave it. And they will all tell you a very different story about what's in the room, what the room looks like, what happened in the room, and what was important. And every version will be valid and will have mattering. And this is where we're going today. So this is just us. Noticing the room. Okay, so we're saying yes to what we're calling in. Now we're saying yes to, I suggest, our guides. Those are unconditionally loving integrity who are here to support us. Let's give a yes to those of unconditionally loving integrity who want to come and support us. Let's just say yes, thank you. Oh, okay. And lastly, I'm going to invite you to call on your higher self. For those of you who have a sense of what that means to you, or you could say, you could call on your highest guardian angel. You might have a different sense of who you turn to when you turn within. And we'll go in our next call session, we will dive in very deeply on higher self. But for now, if you have a sense of that guarding presence, the I within who's connected within to all of life, to all of consciousness, who is the reader of the Akash of everything, who is uniquely aligned to see into your life and round all the corners, to see what's coming, to see with the eyes that to see what you can't, and also to serve, to record all of your preferences and your choices, and to bring you what you ask for, to follow out your conscious and unconscious commands, to hold the keys of all you're here to learn this lifetime, to not only hold, know, and record your preferences and what you're consciously and unconsciously calling into your reality experience, but to know how you need to grow or what's for you or what your soul has asked you to learn in this lifetime. And to see in all directions simultaneously into your daily human life, into every facet of your human experience, and to know how all of these purposes you have in every single moment may best be served, may be served most kindly, but may be served in alignment with your preferences. So don't worry about understanding these words or unpacking these words. When the channeling starts to come through and the guides are gathering, and we're going to shift into channeling mode now, I'm going to encourage you to keep attention noticing your inner experience. All the way through. Let the words pass you by. They have a purpose, but they are not the most important thing being communicated here. What you notice within yourself, that's where your activation experiences happen. Okay, so so just opening to the possibility of a benevolent presence that has your best wishes at heart, can see what's coming and knows what's for you. We can empower and invoke that one and say, I open to receive only what's for me in a way that's highly aligned. And then you can add on to that, I would say, in a way that's kind and benevolent. I would say in a way that's easy and graceful, safe and appropriate. But let's turn now to that principle of this guiding presence, the higher dimension of ourselves. And that every guide that enters the field to connect with us today, everyone who speaks with us today or through us today or works with us in any way today is coming through this benevolent presence, this higher self. So when we say, I open to receive the guidance that's appropriate for me now, or the highest guidance available now. It's almost like we're asking the higher self to go fetch, to read the Akasha, the whole of consciousness, and go and fetch those beautiful beings who've got the answer that we're calling in, or who are carrying the energy that we're calling in, or have the skills to help reconfigure our energy alchemy so that we can access our inner wisdom and remember what we're asking to remember, or to be shown what we're asking to be shown. And that's just in terms of how our higher self can help us access guides, actual beings, benevolent, beautiful beings of light who are here to help us. Our higher self can also be the go-to for the Akash of the whole of consciousness, for helping us open records, for reading the Akash of consciousness and bringing information in the moment. Well, I have a question. I want an answer to this. Please, can we? I want to know. I want to be shown. What do I need to realize? What do I need to see? And quite often, the moments where we find ourselves asking these questions, what do I need to see? What do I need to be shown? These moments are quite often coming from a place of urgency in our lives, no? When we're trying to move forward in some way, and there's a block, something is limiting us. And if we have that awareness that there's a block in our path and we are being limited, then we can turn inwards and say, I've manifested a limitation for myself. Look at this obstacle in my path. You know, when we're done being angry at it and kicking it and shouting at it and blaming everybody else for putting it in our way in the first place, when we then turn inwards and say, what do I need to see in order to manifest a clear path for myself beyond this temporary obstacle, this unnecessary obstacle to me moving forward the way I want to or need to right now? And that creates an urgency. You know, we're trying to move and we can't. Something's come and got in the way, like GevaAnn not being able to join today in the session. We want to move forward, we can't. Something's got in the way. Well, there's inner work to do. And that's when we call on the guides and say, that's when we call on the higher self and the guides to say, right, there's something we need to realize, please, something that needs to be seen here. Please, higher self, access the Akasha consciousness and bring me the awareness I need to have, the realization I need to have, will show me the limiting beliefs that I'm running, that I'm using to limit my reality, to constrict my creative energy. Or show me what it is, the gifts you're trying to bring me. You know, there's obviously, maybe, was this the wrong path for me, or is there something I'm not seeing? What is it? And so in those moments of urgency in life, when we're trying to move forward and we call to our guides for help because we can't, that's when we're asking a higher self to access the Akash of consciousness. And sometimes it's bringing us new information. Our higher self can access new information. Sometimes it will go and access our guides who will come and work with us. Sometimes what it's doing is actually unlocking closed records in our DNA, in our own memory, things that we've realized in other wisdom lifetimes that we've lived, things that are actually available to us within our own, like the suitcase we've got with us from our travelings. You know, you see these suitcases with all these stickers on them, and of where we've been and what we've picked up. And it's almost like the higher self goes and goes, do you remember when you put that sticker on your suitcase? Because you've been here. And when you were here, you had this whole collection of experiences and the wisdoms that you chose to take away with you, the souvenirs and the gifts that you took away with you when you were here. Well, just have a look here now, and let's open that up for you so you can re-access something you've lived through in another lifetime, in another dimension of yourself. We can get onto that. Okay, and then you can apply that wisdom here in this lifetime and in this now moment. So sometimes a higher self isn't accessing the Akashic consciousness of the all it is, it's accessing the records within ourselves and helping us open and activate our DNA. So how many of us have these memories of being travelers in different star systems, or having You know, if we speak to that right now, just have a moment and listen. Don't try and get the answers, just listen to the impressions. Now we've all chosen to put our focus here for a moment. Travelers in different star systems. Just relax into that. Notice you can relax your mind from trying to get any answers about this and be with the impressions as though you're just making a note of what impressions come to you in this moment. You'll unpick it later. No need to understand right now. I'm going to breathe here. And if you're just drawing a blank, trust that. We'll talk about that in a minute. The protective blank. But if you're drawing a blank, bring it right down to notice sensations happening in the body now. Just make a note. Write it down or ask your mind to remember it for later. Say, mind, record this now, retrieve it later, would you? Maybe sensations come, maybe soft visual impressions come, maybe knowingness or memories, concepts or ideas come. You don't have to make sense, it's very important. Maybe you're not in the stars at all. I mean, maybe you've wandered into the deeps of the earth. Maybe you're with the mermaids now. I'm just going to drop your things to open this up a bit more stratospherically. As we're accessing the Akash of our own records, the records of how we became, other lifetimes, in other places and spaces beyond just a human. What if we drop into the deeps of the ocean, into the bedrock of the earth? Into the lava before rock becomes mountains and plains. What if we're in the woods, the grasses, and the plants and the trees? So let go of my words, be with your impressions now. And let them be vague. It doesn't matter if they're jumbled. They don't have to make sense. Just remember that. We're flexing a muscle that we all have. The record of who we are and how we became, this is the guides coming through now, the record of who we are and how we became is written into the structures of your DNA. It is encoded in the cache of your human blueprint, which holds the story of how each of you traveled through the realms and dimensions of consciousness to become one within the caves of Gaia. For your Akashic crystal to be in the core and heart of her. For the core and heart of her is not simply an iron or molten rock. It is a multidimensional center of a vast, incomprehensibly vast consciousness. And there are many places and spaces within the heart of Gaia holding the Akash of every single consciousness that individuates within her. For the job of a planet is to be a holding space, no, a holding consciousness where life grows within her and is of her as a mother. The body of the individuations that incarnate within Gaia are of the body of Gaia, and yet their consciousness travels from afar, from the stars, from beyond, from where the stars form, from where stars are birthed, from beyond even where the stars are birthed. From the cool, calm vastness of the emptiness we would call of consciousness. Every incarnate individual here, human or other life form, and there are countless life forms, individuations within this planet on their path of evolution. Every other life form has birthed from the pure sea of raw potential, from the nothingness of the all that is, through the different dimensions, down stepping in density to have an evolutionary experience. And the Akashic records of every strata within Maya, within Gaia, within matter, where an individuation has formed, had a life, grown, had another life, grown, had another life, grown, and had another life, and then evolved into a different strata within the planet. From cellular life form to sea anemone, to dolphin, to mermaid, to whale. From microorganism to liquid lava, from rock, from mountain, from gravel to sand. From plants and grasses to roots and trees and branches and leaves and compost and earth and soil. From insects to animals to mammals to human animal to human mammal. Eventually, for many to become human beings embarking upon their many lifetime cycle within the planet. Yes. The evolution of every individuation within the Akash of the earth is recorded in the heart of her. You each have a crystal in the heart of her, in the caves in the heart of Gaia, where the record of who you are is held in the very heart of this planet. And your heartbeat and her heartbeat are linked by more than just an idea. Your body and her body are one in more ways than you can imagine. The DNA that relates to how your protein builds and forms the flesh, that defines the form of who you think you are when you see yourself move and breathe and dance and play in her upper, the upper echelons of this planet, on her surface, on her skin, contains information that has been evolved deep within her, microscopic lifetimes. microscopic life form. And that is just the DNA within you that relates to your physiology, your organic nature, the human expression you are of a divine, multidimensional consciousness that's incarnating into a physiological experience. Have you any idea of the potential you have to play, to create, to open the records of your own consciousness and change the instructions? What limits most of you is the record you have, actually you're remembering of what happens when you do this without being in alignment. What happens when you, instead of playing, meddle? Well, there is a great difference between meddling and playing. Meddling is what happens if I press this button. Playing is coming from a place of rebirthing yourself into the resonant remembering of oneness, of the memory that every cell within you is formed and breathed with and come from and moved with and remembered its lifetimes within. Other planets, other dimensions, other spaces within the planet you live in. And you are a fully integrated, interconnected organism. When that resonant remembering breathes and moves your body and you allow it to be part of your vibrational state in a grounded, embodied, present, here now moment way in your daily lives, then, beloveds, then you are playing when you have a moment's inspiration that comes not from need, not from a desire to achieve, not from a sense of lack that you haven't done enough in this moment, or you are not enough, or you should be more, or do more, or have more, but a moment of enoughness that comes with resonant connectedness, breathing that spaciousness into your physical reality that allows you a moment of, oh, I would like to do this. Now, you see, that is play. There's a difference between play and meddle. Meddle got you where you are in the first place, and many of you have shut down the records of your DNA, the access you have within you to opening and reading these records within even your physiology, which is consciousness, which has its records, which has its instructions, which you will be invited to be a more active participant in the reweaving and rewriting of, and the playful reweaving, rewriting, and rescripting of. Many of you shut down your inner access because meddling got you into trouble. You remember Atlantis. Part of you does. And the stories are alive in your folk fiction and the stories you tell each other now. And of course, many of us, have been helping you remember your Atlantean stories for some time now, for they are so pivotal. They are such a pivotal part of your own histories and the part of you which shut down access to the Akashic records within your blueprint, within your unconsciousness, and said, no, last time I had that much access to the information, to the codes, to the scripts, writing reality, writing manifest physical reality, affecting what would happen in the physical universe. Last time I had access to this, that's what caused all this trouble. That's when we fell into separation and we generated the third dimension down from the fifth, where suffering could happen, where gravity was, where polarity ruined everything, and we could fall and bump and have impact and knock into each other in the dark, where instead of wholeness, we were cells floating in an abyss, lost, disconnected from God. Many dark rememberings from Atlantis, but many beautiful reawakenings ready to happen now, for you are no longer there. You are not knocking about in the dark abyss, lost and alone, disconnected from the all that is, from what you call God, many of you, from the consciousness. This is not the reality you are currently embodying. Your bodies are breathing more and more the vibrational truth that you are interconnected beings breathing with all of life. You know, don't you, that you have come from the stars somehow, and that your bodies know more about the earth than your minds will let on about. That there is an understanding that knows how to play at a cellular level. that knows what to do with biology, that can read the Akash written in the DNA of almost anything. There is a part of you that knows this. And it is not arbitrary how you open these records again, how you reconnect your access to this, what records open for you in what moment. This is something that we talk about in terms of trust, inviting you once again into that space of trust. You will not suddenly be, as the toddler, given the keys to the whole universe and the responsibility of rewriting it on the keyboard that will tell reality what it's going to be. You are not like this. You were, in a sense. You have been before. This is recorded in your own memories. That feeling of, writing reality before you even knew what you're doing. Here, now, breathe, feel. Where am I now? Don't answer that question, but do ask it. And notice what comes in the body when you do. Where am I now? Am I remembering only what's for me in right timing? Am I gaining access to the Akash of my own evolution, of my own DNA and blueprint? Am I gaining access to the Akash of all of consciousness in a way that's aligned with my why? Why am I here? Why am I alive? Who am I here to serve? What am I here to bring? What is the truth of my essence, my signature blueprint, we call this? What if my why is very firmly anchored in coming home to the remembering of oneness? Can I then trust that the records of consciousness that I will access are those I need in the moment that will help me come home to myself? What if the guidance that comes to me in the moment, what if the guides I connect with through my higher self or through my preferred methods, what if the guides who connect with me in this moment are only here to help me come home, to remembering my embodied state of oneness? What if I can trust what comes in the moment to be helping me home? What then? Could I then remove? This is where we get onto some clearing and deleting. Could I then remove some of the limitations I have to accessing my inner oracle, to opening the eyes of consciousness, to reading the Akash when I have a question that comes from my heart? Could I remove some of the limitations, some of the scrolls written in my soul that this one shall not do that again? Shut down the access. They shall not be allowed to get the answers they're looking for, because they're only going to go and press the red button and make trouble again. What if it's time to burn that scroll, the one written in the soul, that you shall be closed down, that your eyes shall be shut, that you can't be trusted with the information because you got it wrong or you created a situation you didn't like sometime before? Some other civilization, some other place, some other space and time. That's time. We will now, together, invite you to open those scrolls that say you will be shut down. As though they are opening and unrolling before you. Trust which of these commandments need to burn. You don't mentally need to know. You know, your higher self knows, and you know in your heart, in the oracles you are, which commandments need to burn. And let's take a beautiful, a little fire to the commandments in that scroll that are not appropriate for this moment and time. Let them burn, beloved. Whether you burn with fire, the violet flame, or in white light, whether you wash them in the river and let them dissolve, let them go. Let them burn. And breathe. Just feel your bodies while this is happening. Don't worry about trying to manage the process. Feel the bodies, the forces, the flow. Be with the breath. And you can just say, I let this go. I celebrate that it was. Thank you. You're thanking your own soul, your higher self, all it is, carrying out your instructions. I let myself open now in the ways that are for me. I let my eyes see in the ways that serve me, that help me to come home my way. I call for more access, more clarity, more guidance. What are we calling for? Let's be really specific here because we're burning the old scrolls, but there are new ones being written about our seeing, about our access to our inner guidance now. What is it we want? Let's just be with that space now for a moment. Don't scrabble in the mind to think, what do I need? Give a breath and a spaciousness and see what comes up. You might be surprised by what you want now when it comes to your access to guidance, seeing, and clarity. If you don't know what you're calling in, just call in for what's for you. And stay with the sensations in the body while we do this. It's time to unlock. Now is a great moment. Beautiful. So I can feel you may have things rolling for you still. So stay with your own impressions, but I can feel that movement for us in the field has just completed. So I invite us all now just to rest and to breathe. We'll take a few moments now as we come out of this channeling and say thank you so much to the guides who are speaking, because it was, yeah, we'll worry about who that was another time. But thank you to the guide for speaking there. Thanking ourselves. But take these moments now just to be the impressions that come to you. Write down anything you've noticed just as though you're making a note of what you might have noticed. Don't worry about what it might mean or try and get the message at this point, unless it's super loud. You know, you're going to read back over this later. That's when you might get more from it. You don't want to write it down, just take these moments. Be with how you feel. And just be with whether you have a sense of what was it I'd really like. Did I ask for more clarity or accuracy, or just see if you can remember anything that you were asking for there in terms of your connection to your inner seeing. Having asked for it just in these few culminating moments, because we're coming to a close for the first part of this session. So just being with you, I can feel now a bit of energy work here happening because we've asked for something. So the response is instant. So just open to feel any sensations. We might think we didn't notice much or we didn't ask for anything or we don't know what's going on. But you know what? Just listen for any subtle sensations right now. Give permission to be held. You might even want to soften your body and see if you're, let the guides come in and maybe even very gently move you. Let yourself be moved from within. Keep saying yes to letting go of anything that's trying to leave your field. If you feel a pressure build up somewhere, don't fear it. Trust that something is ready for release. Just say yes to whatever that is. Definitely say yes to the thoughts and beliefs and what I would call mind matrices that I can feel in the field now trying to leave from all our minds. Limiting thoughts that are connected to those soul commandments that have been burnt. to keep us small and keep us closed down. There's going to be a lot of connected belief packages, mind matrices, beliefs, expectations, thoughts, habits, intentions, habitual intentions. They form a kind of matrices in the mind. They form matrices in the mind. And when we do make a big inner shift like the one we've just made, these need to lift off. You can just say we're letting go of the past. And we're doing it in our thoughts. There you go. I can see some of us really clinging on to those, like, no, I need them. They've kept me safe. And that's true. A lot of our old ways of keeping ourselves closed down, not consciously, this is unconscious. Our old ways of unconsciously keeping ourselves closed down have kept us safe. But I'm going to say, what if it's safe to let go? Now. Just feel the body when we say those words. What if it's safe to open? When we say those words, you might get feelings moving in the body or the heart. Trust what comes. Just for these moments, trust it. What if it's safe to open a little more now? In a way that's safe and appropriate, perfect for this moment, perfect for you, for me. There we go. That's it. That's it. Now I can see it's letting go. It's like we've been holding onto a string of balloons and we've just let the string go and off they go. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm feeling and what I'm getting from the guides and from our higher selves and those with us right now is this tremendous sense of pride in us, almost like parental pride in us for us at the moment. They're just like, wow, look at you. Well done. You're doing this. This is beautiful. And we are really proud of you. Now, this is interesting because it's got a quality of parental pride, which I don't often feel from the guides. So this is unique to this moment. But it is. It's like, I'm very proud of you. It's coming in for all of us. Letting go of closing down in the ways that have kept us safe. Opening to the possibility that here and now, it's safe to open in new ways now. There we go. Beautiful expansion. Phenomenal expansion. Well done, all of us. All right. Just stay with what's moving. This is why it can be really nice to soften in the body. Now, I'm just going to invite us to ground a bit more now. So to bring our attention to the breath and let the breath come stronger. And listen if that breath, when it circulates through the body, if it wants to turn into a stretch or a physical opening. Does the chest want to open? Do the shoulders want to lean, but roll back? What's going on around the neck and jaw? And let's have a listen, a physical listening now. Everything we're opening to energetically has to find its way into the body's energy biology. These beautiful expansions get to land if we just listen to the body now and let it move us a little bit. So breathe in, let the breath stretch, turn into a stretch, and then let the stretch turn into a lean, maybe. Just try that. It's a very listening way of being it. Breathe in. Let that in-breath expand the chest, turn into a stretch. Let the stretch turn into a lean. Or a movement. And let that movement travel all the way down to the fingertips. Or all the way up to the top of the head. All the way down to the hips and pelvis. Down the legs to the tips of the toes. Breath, stretch, lean, move. There is no way we could consciously know what the body needs to do to integrate the energies we have just allowed ourselves to open to. This is why we do this listening movement practice after a channeling like this. And after the burning of the scrolls, which we've just done, and that call for more connection. After that beautiful release of what's holding us back, and that beautiful yes of saying, perhaps it's safe to open in new ways now. This is going to affect us physically. So let's be with that in the most graceful way we possibly can. Our body truth. Breathe, stretch, lean, flowing movement. And you may find that your hands and arms, if you really let go of control here, want to move in delicate ways or unusual ways that might even surprise you. This is so beautiful, these moments. So when we're doing energy work on ourselves, our higher selves, and our guide, are helping us with energy work, and we're channeling it physically. That real simple breathe, stretch, lean, flowing movement. You can let the movements be really subtle. Or really strong. Stay safe. I would stay very safe while you're doing this. Notice, make sure you've got soft things around you. Don't stand up too fast. I would even stay seated personally, but you know your own body best. And this is really, I love this being danced from within, you know, the music of the spheres dancing us. It's very poetic, not entirely accurate, but it's quite a nice way of talking to it. Okay. It's really listening to the body's wisdom, and the body is listening to the heart. The heart is listening to our soul, which is one with the infinite. And that's where the movement is coming from. Through the innate intelligence of our higher self. That knows what's for us multidimensionally, energetically, physically, humanly, all levels. And is protecting us, guarding us, and guiding us now. in these abstract places where the mind is just like, what is going on? Been the mind's job to keep us safe by asking that question and shutting us down for so long. And we can thank it for that. But we can really praise and celebrate ourselves for stepping out beyond that here and now. Letting a higher guidance move our bodies for these few moments. And we don't know what's going on. We don't know why it's happening, but we can trust this because we know why we've asked for it. Okay. Now that is beautiful. So I'm being shown this lovely point. So I'm seeing into the field that we're in at the moment that's been opened for us to have this space and time together and make this connection with ourselves. And what they're showing me in the field is all of us coming together as we complete this little movement that we've been in, and it's bringing a beautiful white, almost a point. It's bringing things to a beautiful point, and from that point there's a lovely resonance, like a boom, nice transmission going out. For all of us, it's harmonic gold rings of light traveling outwards from what we're bringing together in this moment. And that's out for each of us. Yeah, that's for each of us. You know, we're not sending anything out into the world just now. This is still a closed experience for us. And that's safe and in integrity. There we go. Okay. So you'll feel when the movements naturally sort of soften and come to an end. Notice where your attention gets invited to return to. I mean, I can feel mine where I'm invited to return to now. Keep your attention within, in the body, I should. And we're coming into our resting places now, like where our attention is going to rest. Where we come to rest. And the image I'm having is of flowers settling onto a pond. Flowers falling from a tree and settling onto the water softly, just as we come to rest within ourselves. Nothing to know here now. Beautiful, and that feels like a closing. So that was an hour and a quarter since we all sat down together now. I think it's nice to have a 10-minute break for each of us. In that break, you may just want to make a note of, how am I right now? And do I feel different to how I felt when I sat down? And just ask that question, see what comes, make a note of the impressions before you get up and get water or whatever you need to do. So, and if you want to, you can write it in the chat as a way of writing it down, or you might just want to write it in your notebooks, or you might just want to have that awareness within you. Okay, we'll come back in 10 minutes. So it's 1:15 now, so I'll see you back here at 25 past, guys. Okay. Okay, so welcome back, guys. So just giving us a minute to settle back in our seats and make sure we're all here. I know 10 minutes isn't long, so I hope you managed to do what you needed to feel like you've had a bit of a breather and a bit of a refresh from our journey together in the first half. Mhm. So it's almost like we're sitting back in a room. I don't know if you can feel it, but it's like you're energetically opening the door, sitting back in that space. And I always see this like this beautiful orb, like a golden orb. And I kind of feel it's coming back in. And it's really nice. It's really nice to feel that and to feel that sense of interconnectivity, even though we're all, in different physical locations. In consciousness, we're in this held, connected space in a safe container. And for me, that's a very tangible thing. So what I'm going to ask is, we're going to open to Q&A now, for those of you who are ready for this. And so anyone who, I was going to say, if you wanted to share that difference of how you felt when you started to how you felt at the end, it doesn't matter if you don't want to share that or write it down, but in some way make a note just for yourself. And what we're doing now is, rather than coming with the questions that we might have prepared mentally, I just want to encourage us to drop into this now moment. Okay, let's just drop into this now moment. Feet on floor, hand on heart if it helps us drop a part of us into our center here now. Feeling our root, that weight on the seat. Breath in the body, nice and alive. And giving ourselves a moment to not know. Let's not know what we're about to ask. Even if you do know, let's just give yourselves a moment of not knowing anyway. So we're calling in guides of unconditionally loving integrity to respond to the questions that come today. So when you have a question, when something comes out of this pause moment in this field, when something comes, trust what comes. Trust the first thing that comes, I would say, but trust what comes. Don't overthink it. If you've got a question, something you want to know about, more about, type it out, put it in the comments. And really, please don't worry if you think it sounds silly or if you don't think it's important. If it's what's here for you now, write it down. And remember, we're keeping the focus on guidance, but that can include a lot of topics. And I'm not going to try and lead you or guide you from here, because this is about trusting what comes in the moment. So let's release ourselves from needing to know. Sit in this pause of, in this moment, I am enough. I've done enough. I have enough. And breathe. Guides are gathering, so there are questions in the field. This is beautiful. No rush here now. Mhm. Wow, beautiful. Stephen, thank you. I'm going to put that up on screen. If any of you have a question and you prefer me not to put it up on screen, make a note to that. Kelly, thank you so much for yours. Stephen, Kelly, that's beautiful. You guys can probably see that in the comments. So let's give them a moment to come in. Before we start answering questions, let's just give these a moment. Thanks, Stephen, to come in. So we've all got a chance to be with that. What's here for me now? Okay. So Stephen says, can you say some words about the importance of bringing love into this process of letting go? So take your time. Those of you who don't have questions that are here in the moment, trust that the questions will come in the right moment. And if you're still forming your questions, then stay focused on what you're asking. And join in and listen to this channeling when you've got down what you're getting down. So, can you say some words about the importance of bringing love into this process of letting go? For a long time, beloved, there has been a great emptiness. There has been a focus on what is needed to heal and fix the problem of the great emptiness, not the wholesome emptiness of peace and benevolence, but the sucking emptiness of the void where love should be. This is something you all have lived through. Still releasing yourselves from, letting go of the tendrils of this reality of disconnectivity, separation, and emptiness, voidal, sucking emptiness, the gap where love, the hole where love once was, should be, and is hoped to be again. This emptiness is a place you all can touch within yourselves, but most of you quite intelligently fear to tread, have a great terror, in fact, of fearing to tread. This fear is what gave an overemphasis to the importance of letting go in your light work, your healing work, your self-awareness processes. There was a heavy emphasis, for such a long time on what must I heal and let go of, what must I clear out of my system. And in this fear-based sort of emphasis of I need to, there was an inherent belief that you needed to fix things about yourselves, because if you found yourself, metaphysically speaking, in this great voidal emptiness where love was not, well, at some level, it is like the child who has lost a parent. It must be your fault. No, it must be your fault. There's something dirty or wrong or inadequate or unworthy or not good enough or terrible about yourself. This is punishable by the absence of love, the absence of God, goddess, all that is. This letting go emphasis, heavy emphasis, has tendrils of unkindness within it. Quite often we see in the inner work that happens for many. A sense it is important to be taking out the trash rather than focusing on bringing home the food. we would like to suggest a shift in emphasis from letting go to calling in. It is not that you must let go of what is in the way so space can be made for God and truth and love and wholeness and harmony and what exactly and precisely you are calling in to come in. You do not have to clear out a space for yourself for truth to come in. Instead, perhaps the way could be made to rest in truth. The truth you already are, the wholeness that already is, the love that actually vibrates in you, always, timelessly, endlessly, beyond all of the stories that need to be cleared away, all of the things that need to be thrown out. And it is when you contact this resonant remembering of the truth that you are, the love that you are, that what is no longer appropriate, what is done, what is old, does not need to be picked up and taken like a bag and dumped somewhere, catharsized out of your systems. It simply dissolves. It remembers. It came from this love that you are. It will return again to this love that you are. It has traveled into a shape, a story of itself of being not love, a problem, an error, some sort of trash, something that must be disposed of eventually. Essentially, though, it was a story, it had a purpose. Its purpose has been achieved, the gift has been received. It is time for the story, the form, the shape to be released. When you are releasing an emptiness, you are always taking out the trash. It is an endless job. And somehow it needs to come from in you and go out there somewhere. When you turn within and rest in the wholeness you already are, your focus does not need to be on what you are letting go. It can be on who you truly are and what is coming in from that in this now moment, and who you truly are comes from love, is of love. This shift into who am I? What's my truth? So show me the truth I can rest in now and remember and resonate with. This truth will dissolve the shape of not love. Whether that's an action or a thought or a belief, whether that's a scroll within your soul, resting in the truth of who you are will dissolve who you are not. All of who you are not will eventually have no other choice but to come home to the truth of who you are, to the love that you are. There is an emphasis only on letting go of the attachments to who you are not. When you contact a more expansive place within yourself, I am open to this. I am also this. I am the love that I am here. Some part of you is going to remember that it's not the ultimate truth, and it is time for it to lay down its tools and take off its mantle and go to sleep and allow itself to dissolve back into that beautiful resonant remembering that you are more than what you were a moment ago, that you are more than that story that's died in you. You are more than that situation that manifested over there. You are more than that moment of unhappiness. You are the love that's always waiting beyond it. There is occasionally some part that is not ready to let go. It is attached. It is afraid of what will happen when it lets go. And that is when letting go becomes important. That is when there is a focus on, there is something to be let go of here now. And often that letting go, that attachment to something that's trying to end in you, a belief, a cycle, a pattern, a behavior that's trying to end in you, when there is an attachment to that and a difficulty in letting go, it's because something in you is holding on to that. And why is it holding? But it is afraid. Why is it afraid? Because in the past, when it let go, instead of falling into the arms of love, it fell with an impact and something suffering happened. So something bad has happened, something painful has happened, suffering has happened, and that's caused some part to grip tightly to an old story that's trying to end and is not ready to let go, and it's being asked to let go, and there's so much pressure on it there. And how you can bring love into this is by bringing compassion to the part of you. You don't need to see what it is, you just know it's there, that is afraid to let go. Bring compassion to the part of you that is afraid to let go, for it has suffered. In suffering was pain, and the pain has not left the body, or the mind, or the memory. Bring compassion, for in compassion, fear relaxes. The memory of suffering can move and breathe, for it is seen and heard. When letting go is such an emphasis, and sometimes it simply is, bring compassion, beloved. For there will be a frightened one there that is hurting still. And its hurt needs to be heard. There is indeed a deep compassion here now in this moment. So I'm just inviting us to make a little space for that in ourselves. One person asks a question, but that question isn't always just for one person. And this compassion here now isn't just for one person either. It is for all of us, each of us. Let's let that in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Stephen, those are the words that come. I wonder if you're okay. And don't feel obliged to respond. I hope those words spoke to something in you that was asking. Thank you so much, Stephen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And thank you everyone for holding the field for that to come through. It was really lovely to be able to drop into that. So I invite us to take a nice deep breath, recenter in ourselves. And there is another question that's here now. So Kelly. I can already, I haven't read the words and I can feel the energy coming through for this question. So let's let the energy come through and then I'll read the word. Okay. Kelly, before I even read this out, I'm getting the sense of you being especially held right now. It's like there's an energy, a beautiful orb of energy being held around you. So I think we're about to move into not just verbal channeling, but also energy process where the guides will be working with you. So for that, just center in your heart, stay with your breath your sensations in the body. And for everyone else in the field, stay centered within yourself and your own experience, and that will help hold the field. Okay? So we're going to go into a movement here. And Kelly says, I'd like to remove any blocks to mastering Portuguese and open the channels to learn this language easily and without resistance. Fantastic, because any ability, any capacity, we have an innate ability that knows how to learn a language, and we'll have blocks and beliefs that think that we can't in there. And I'm talking as Lucy here because what I'm seeing, you probably see it with the hands, is the guides are already working with energy pathways. So this will be possibly, I'm not hearing any words, they're not speaking to me yet. We are just staying with Kelly. I'm going to invite you to place attention in the physical sensations in your mind at this moment and heart, and to let that connection between heart and mind, there you go. I felt the energy shift as you did that. The connection between heart and mind be particularly alive. And now I'm seeing that extend to heart, mind, base of spine. No, heart, mind, belly, base of spine. Heart, mind, belly, base of spine. That's beautiful because now you've done that. There's this expansion happening. Which feels like the first stage. We see that at some level there is an unconscious one not prepared to admit that they do feel a little lost and alone in this area of being, shall we say, a newcomer in a foreign country. This is perfectly natural and normal human response to the situation that you find yourself in. It is wise to bring the wisdom of remembering you have been here before, beloved. You know this country. Part of you has lived a lifetime in Portugal. There are stories that come from this lifetime in Portugal. Stories that are both human and warm. They speak of family, of a life lived in love and within adoration of your country, of your surroundings. We're just inviting your body to relax into that. What would it feel like to be in adoration, not of the surroundings you see with your open eyes in this moment? Let your eyes soften a little and see perhaps into the past. Just give that intention, and part of you will. Doesn't matter if it, you get the message. Let your eyes soften, see into the past. Take a breath maybe now into deeper feeling, softening. Yes, for sure, there were horrors that happened in this lifetime. When is there a lifetime that can say, truly say, that they have not in some way? As you soften into the love and the adoration you had in this other life when you were here, some of those terrors that are also recorded, they can gallop out of your field and the horses they rode in on. That's it. It is a very natural place for you to be. Contacting that naturalness in this moment, allowing the body to feel the naturalness of being where you are in this land, the land, here now. Beautiful. And just while you're doing this, I'm seeing a column open up, and it's like lots of stories are moving in both directions. Can't tell you what that means, except it's healthy. Okay. there's a leaving of many stories, basically, because there is an opening of that natural connection. It's just a pathway in your central column, and there's lots just naturally leaves when you rest in that connection and how natural it is to be here now. So just telling you what I can see. Let the guide take over the words again. Beloved, you are at ease here. Part of you breathes easy, knowing that much about this place is pleasing. You can reconnect with that sense of relaxing, being at rest, being at ease here. Beautiful. Now what I'm showing is I'm actually seeing kind of like lines of light open up, like neural pathways, and lines of light following neural pathways, making connections. I think they're just inviting you back into that rested, yes, once long ago I remembered how to do all this. I was here and it was natural and easy and I adored it. I'm not saying you need to suddenly remember Portuguese in this way, but this is a way for the limitations. Kind of, they're showing me little gates across your neural pathways there, blocking learning, which is more of a remembering and a relearning for you. When you rest in that naturalness, these little gates, they lift off. So let's, okay, be with the channeled energy work that wants to come through now. It's all speeded up a little bit. We've shifted our focus. I can feel those in the group who've got a gift for actually placing attention in this way, consciously or not. There's support coming through the higher selves of each of us to help this process. Thank you, everybody. Those of you who are bringing that, I think I know who this is. Okay. And now I'm just being shown like a book open and all the pages kind of like opening out, which is good. And I'm just getting the word that says the Akash, the records opening out. The records of remembering how to speak Portuguese. Okay. There's almost like there's a dampening being put around the mind now because the intellect is really there's a lot been going on with the brain and the neural pathways, and the intellect is going to be stimulated. And so a lot of mental thoughts are going to be coming, trying to kind of police what's going on, have a look. This is just natural patternings of trying to understand what this activity is. And the guides are just dampening that a little bit, encouraging you back to the body. There you go. There you go. And what's fun now is what I'm being shown. If I just share what I'm being shown, is it's like, I can describe this, it's beautiful. It's like a network coming out all around your mind, a network of lines of information and light that relates obviously directly to what you're calling in right now with this. I can feel them steadying the heart because there's a sort of a logic to, I can't suddenly be able to do something I couldn't do a moment ago. And the heart is just, there's a little bit of flutter and a wobble there. And it's just like they're steadying your heart. And just reminding you to let go of knowing what this means. And we're doing all this energy work, there's all this reconnectivity. We're talking about the past life. And the mind is going to want to know, well, what does this mean? What's going to happen for me after this session? You know, am I going to suddenly find it easier? And it's going to have a lot of, what expectations should I create around this? And this is a great moment just to catch that and go, I'm not going to create expectations around what's going to happen around this. I'm going to be the witness. I've asked for something. I trust it's going to come in. The way it comes in has to come in a way that the whole system feels safe with, not just the mind, but the whole system feels safe. And we don't know. You know, we don't know how quickly that can happen, what you've asked for can integrate. So instead of creating expectations about what this might mean and what your sessions should look like, I would now take this opportunity to say, I don't know, I'm going to be a witness to what comes in. I'm going to watch and observe with interest, a live interest, what changes now around my Portuguese sessions. And that's quite an important shift, because that the first approach blocks the effects of what's being received. You know, I'll create expectations about what should happen. The second approach, I'm going to witness with interest what does happen, because I don't know. That increases efficiency. It actually allows more to happen faster than it might otherwise. Okay. And I'm getting, Kelly, the guidance I'm getting is to breathe into the body now. I've got a lot going on around the back of your heart, your shoulder blades, but feel into, as you breathe in, where aliveness wants to go, where the body wants to move. I'm getting a sense of crunching and releasing in the body's muscles, not just, you know, what's been going up in the brain, but that you might want to give yourself a few crunches and releases. You know, you scrunch up really, 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 really tight, and then just drop and relax all at once. Really nice way of opening to whatever is new in the now. And it's nice to leave it that open. You know, if you ask for something really specific, but it's like, okay, really specific, but I'm going to let go and just open to whatever is new in the now. And that's trust. That's trusting that you'll get what you've asked for in the way that's benevolent. So, beautiful. Beautiful. Right, so staying with this movement, you can feel like Kelly being in your body right now. We're not going to leave that space yet, because it's still, there we go, about this integrating for you. And I'd be fascinated to hear, like, in the days and weeks to come, if you do notice anything or what you notice. And sometimes we don't know. Changes happen quite often so kind of seamlessly that we don't know that any changes happen. So it can be quite nice to make a note of what the problems were at this moment, or your challenges were now, and then revisit that in like 2 or 3 weeks and just say, well, how am I finding it now? And see if there's any difference between what your experience of these lessons is at the moment and what it is 1, 2, 3 weeks from now. I get a 3-week figure there. And just see what you notice. And you can't put that all down to guidance or this session, because we live and grow and life changes us in that time as well. So we have to let go of that. What exactly and precisely happened with this work? Or not, but let me know. If we remember, let's check in on that. Okay, so that feels like, let's just check in. Yep, Kelly, it feels like your bit's closed now, if that's all right. You might just want to hold a hand on your heart. Stay in your center. Because, yeah, that's it, beautiful. And each of us now, we can take a breath, recenter in ourselves. Breathe in, breathe out. Drop into this now moment. Since we never know what's going to come when we open to these questions or how it's going to arrive. Okay, Marcus, going to go to you, just doing this in sequence. And again. So for everybody, while we're listening to what's going on for Marcus and what comes through for Marcus, let's be with our own inner experience, centered in the heart, belly, root, feet, mind. Be with our heartbeat. And this is how we hold the field beautifully steady while someone else is the focus of attention with the guide. So Marcus, again, I can't read your words yet. We're just being invited into stillness. And it feels like in stillness, something wants to move. I'm feeling waves of things wanting to just rise up and move without being named for a few moments. Let's just be with you and this now. And before I speak to your question, I'm feeling love coming in for the little child, you. There's almost like this ball of golden love just being brought in and wrapping around little child, you. And a sense of you just saying yes to this. Yes to the love that wants to reach your inner child now. Whatever quality that is in the moment. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take the words off because I haven't seen them or read them yet, but I'm just going to speak to this now. Okay, and just if it's all right to say what I'm seeing the little child put its arms up, and it's like it's putting its arms up to God. And again, it's a general thing to say. There'll be a very specific way it's happening, but just that's it. Lovely. We're just naming it, and I can feel a shift now. It's like something has permission. There's a flow that has permission to come into this inner child that it was really calling for there. That's part of security. I'm just being shown this like the child, but in a golden sea of energy. And the sea has the quality of security. So we're saying this out loud, just let the resonances that are happening in your body, in your field, drop in as they want to. Okay, and this word security just keeps wanting to be spoken, security. So it's an invitation in the body to feel the isness of this. And I'm hearing the word security is not a conditional quality. It is a divine quality. It is of the divine and unconditionally available as a divine resonance within the field. Reality may tell you many things, but within your field. Okay, that's good, because as we're naming this, something is rising up, some part that hasn't experienced that at all to be true gets to rise up now. And I can almost feel the sort of fluttering of and just remember that although we're talking to you, Marcus, this is not just you, is it? This is going to be alive in right now. Maybe a few of us, this is moving for. So I say, stay with our own experience, each of us. That holds the field beautifully. And the word security is not conditional. So when we bring this in, something rises up and flutters away. It feels like there's a bit more of that wanting to. So they're saying it one more time. Security is not conditional. I'm just inviting you to rest in the body and notice the sensations there now. How the breath moves in the chest. Back to the heart. That stillness. The emptiness. The peaceful emptiness. And the spaciousness. And the beyond. Okay, I can feel that breath coming again. So that's something of a reset. I'm seeing guides holding your hand either side, especially on your right. And coming to rest. Look, that all happened before I got to read this. So I want to read what you've written up. How do I invite, Marcus says, how do I invite expression of my own wants to others so that I am really heard? And the help comes to create an unfolding of the vision of physical expression, a practical format for calling in creation. Yes, I know what you mean by that. Again, I get this picture of a tremendous shaking, and the words are instability and insecurity. And it's like there's been a shaking through what I'm being shown as a kind of a representation in your energy field of like a cityscape, which represents our physical co-creations, the landscape or the environment for it. And what the guides have done, I think, in this instance, is just brought through the resolution that's right at the heart of why you wouldn't. Why weren't they hearing you? Why wasn't it landing? And why weren't you being met? And they brought it all the way into the original why of this. Yep, I just get yes, I'm checking and I just get yes, and it's okay, now there are words. As you begin to shift back into that vibration of I belong, and to feel the security of this as a resonance within the body, when it is in your working, you work in physical environments, in company, in those physical environments where you wish to be heard, as this resonant, this restabilize, this stability re-resonates through your field, and you vibrate with this quality, it calls others to you. It calls the concentration into focus and gives it somewhere to land. because you are present in a level of yourself where before you had been shaken out, unrooted, a little ungrounded from the effects of your previous experiences. These had created expectations that were like building blocks within your reality that meant that it was impossible for anyone to ever hear you properly because you were not there when they turned to look and see what you were saying and where you were speaking from. All we are gently inviting in the moment is we're calling you into that space within yourself, which is where you speak from your visioning with that quality of stability that enables you to feel safe, that enables you to be present, that will enable you to be heard. They are like birds looking towards a tree. They hear the song, but they cannot see the source of the song. We are calling you into yourself. You need not fear the part of you who is a vision keeper for your company. We will say this again. You need not fear the part of you who is a vision keeper for your company. This has long not been recognized in the world with a job title and a wage packet and a pension plan and a description, yet there are companies in the world that do, and that could be enough for you. There are companies in the world that do. They give the vision keeper in the company a defined role, a named role, a named paycheck, a named pay packet. In fact, knowing that this does exist in the world may be the nugget of information the mind requires in order to give permission for this part of you that is the vision keeper to know itself as grounded, practical, purposeful, but more importantly, to feel stabilized within your company dynamic, as well as within your own body, your own landscape of reality. So as they're talking, they're showing me you. It's lovely, Lemuria as a dreamer, I think, of reality, dreamer. As a dreamer of reality, and they're showing me you in like wizard's robes and lots of lives very, very fast where you've had this office and it's been recognized. Other civilizations have recognized this. But of course, you have many histories in this world, this cycle of civilization, these worlds where it not only has it not been recognized, but you've been destroyed for it, cast out, killed. And although that's not what's happening to you physically, there's a sense of shaking out some of those memories of the past so that you can re-stabilize in that isness of course I'm safe in this. Now, consciously, I don't know, if this is conscious for you or if we're speaking to the unconscious in you, but let's just feel into what's here now with this. It's like they're on repeat, Mark. They're just saying, you are safe, beloved. You are safe. So there's some part of you, hidden or not, that has learned to feel unsafe, speaking its truth. And they're showing me that being heard, not being heard, has become a kind of protection. Being heard, there's almost like this really exhausted one. Like, it's never gonna, what's the point? Yeah, it can't really sleep, it can't really rest because this is who you are. This is what you've got to give. This is such an integral part of your signature blueprint that you have to be heard, so this is there's an urgency around this and an importance around this. So Okay, so what they're giving me now is an I am. You can sound this with the I am the vision keeper for this company. If you say this out loud, so when you say I am, you're calling on the divine and you're telling the identity what it is, and you're telling the I am how to create the identity of you, how to create who you are in that moment. You're commanding that divine truth and giving it this quality. I am, if those words aren't right, you use your own. I am the vision keeper for this company. And just let the body feel whatever it feels when you silently say these words, or the words that you choose to use instead. I am vision keeper for this company. And we'll just hold you in the field. That's it. There's nothing you should or shouldn't be feeling. The words I'm getting are, I am stable, safe, and secure as the vision keeper in this company. Again, I can feel some mind matrices lifting as you drop into this more and more. There's these parts of you that weren't agreeing with that, feel like they're lifting up and dissolving. Okay, and the last thing they're showing is that as you rest in this resonance, how others turn to face you, how they hear you, what's in the way of that is dissolving. How that changes because of your resting in this isness. That's who you are. And they're saying that, I mean, to get the sense that there's more fear that wants to leave the system, but you've initiated the process. The more you drop into the truth of, well, I am this, the more the less able the fear will be the less able the fear will be to say in your system, it's going to have to keep vibrating out. The more you sit with that statement consciously and see how you feel in your body, the less you'll need other people to manifest circumstances and events to help you move through this, and the more you can sit with it yourself and let it move in you. So yeah, the more we speak to that, I can feel an acceleration now, the heart fluttering, and lots wanting to leave around this. And I'm just getting the words from your guides, love, saying, don't rush, go gently, make a time, sit with that. Breathe into how you feel, let it move. And you can even make that a structured time. You can say, well, for 5 minutes, I'm going to sit with this sentence that's going to help these old stories dissolve into my new truth. I am I'm the vision keeper for this company. There we go. I can really feel you in your feet now, love. I don't know how you feel. But that feels like we're landing from this one. Oh. Okay, Marcus. So you've got homework. Should you choose to accept it? Okay. Right. All right. If you need to check in around that, because this is ongoing, then just send me a message, would you, and let me know how you're doing. And if you want a little check in around that. I think you've got the process. I think you've got this, but I'm here if you want yeah, if you want to sit in company with it. Okay, so that just goes back to the signature blueprint, the truth of who you are, dropping more deeply into this truth, allowing the body to feel at rest and feel stabilized within that, and then letting what wants to rise up and leave. And that feels like ongoing work. Resolution clarified, jolly good. All homework accepted, well done. All right, guys, so there's 2 more questions. We're coming up to time. Does because I want to, there's Kathy's asked a question, Lee has asked a question, and yeah, so we're coming up to time, but I really want to make space for these 2 questions. So this is a moment where let's take just a 1-minute break, feel into whether you want to stay. It's going to be another 10-20 minutes, in which case stay in the field. And if you're like, no, this is the time I've got for this, I feel like I now want to just off I go, then take a moment, consciously leave the field, and you're welcome, of course, to step away. You know, but honor our time constraints in this. Thanks, Kelly. You're staying on a bit. That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, it's just 2 more movements to go through here. So I'm just going to take a minute. Take a minute, ask yourself, and we'll come back into it in just 1 minute now. Okay, so we know we know if we're here or not. You have to go, Stephen. Thank you so much. And the link, Stephen, the replay for this will be the very same link that you use to access it. Anyone has any problems with that, you just let me know. All right, Nina, you're staying. That's wonderful. Okay, guys, it feels really exciting. Thank you. Right, so just a couple more movements. As I say, it's kind of like 15-20 minutes, I think, is the sense I have. So, Kathy, if you're still with us, and Lee, if you're still with us, I'm going to put yours on screen. And I just get this really excitable energy for you, Kathy. And for all of us, actually, it's for all of us in the field now. So I'm getting birds, I'm getting chirping, I'm getting trees, lots of life. Oh, wow. Yeah. and this kind of joyful, wee, kind of chirpy, excitable energy that, you know, it's like it's for you, but it's for all of us. It's like you're bringing this to the field. So I want to thank you for that and give full recognition for the delightful qualities that you're bringing to this moment. Thank you. Okay, guys, so let's breathe in and all of us stay with our own inner experience while the space opens for Kathy, for the guides to come through. or all of consciousness in this case, is what it feels like, Kathy. So what is we saying? It's saying, I would love some guidance on my desire and ability to fall asleep when I'm avoiding facing things. That is such a beautiful question. Okay, Kathy, they're invited, guys. I think we're all being invited into the heart. It's like the field is expanding to hold what's coming through now. Hmm. Beautiful. Kathy, it's like I'm seeing us all as trees in a circle, holding this huge expansion. And the expansion is you. There's a sense of God. This isn't so much a verbal channeling because it's like all of life is gathering. So I'm more going to be narrating, yeah, just what's being shown here. Mm. Can you feel the power and the life force running through these trees, this circle of holding here now? That is not outside of your reality. This is in your reality. It is this power, beloved, that you are shrinking from, yes? You have learned to fall asleep to it. Of course you have, for you are protecting others from yourself. It is learned behavior. It is from the past. We know you know this, but we are going to help you access part of you that refuses to listen, for it is afraid of what will happen if you are here again. And we're inviting this part now. Step up. You belong to Kathy. You are part of Kathy. There's nowhere you are where Kathy is not. It is all right, beloved, to come to light, this frightened part that thinks you are here again, that you are revisiting your past, that it is time to be powerful and you must not because of what happened last time. We know. It is known what happened last time. Everybody on your planet has a what happened last time. When they were powerful, when they pushed the button, when they explored the full potential of the power of their desire and let that force wreak havoc in the world. Everyone here, everyone has this story within them. Yours is not to be feared. It is just a note in the song of all of consciousness exploring itself, uncovering and unraveling itself, asking itself who it is. This is just something that happened along the way. You have learned to be very afraid. There's a tiny little nugget in you that will not come out to play. Just invite this little nugget into the hand, into the heart now, beloved. Just hold it in loving compassion, this terrified part. Breathe while it is here in this held space now. Let it experience this space of the heart where it is seen. Let it breathe and tell its story. For it has much to say about what has gone past. What happened last time. That's it. It is screwed up very, very tight. It's time to call to this frightened part and invite it to softly open. Speak its story. Be heard by the wisdom one you also are. The one who knows there is nothing to fear. No part of yourself. No part of your past, no part of your stories that you need to fear. For you are the vastness of the all that is, listening. In loving divine compassion to this now. You are listening. You are the part who is listening to this tiny nugget of fear. So as you're listening, they're showing me these beautiful weavings of golden light coming from your heart. It's like something that's screwed up tight. Little threads are opening now. And they're saying there's a private part of this message for you. Apparently that gets written. You can check in on that afterwards. For now, this is what you get to be with. Okay, they're kind of inviting you up into the mind, and it's like I'm just hearing all these words leaving very fast. Like I can't, I shouldn't, but what if, and if then, and this will happen. You get the idea of these kinds of scripts. These are all the mind scripts that kept this one closed. Literally cuts you out. It makes sure you cut out a consciousness if you go anywhere near it. Because part of you has learned that humanly you're not qualified to manage this divine force of powerful creation that you also are. And this is what the reconnection is. It's a connection between the human and the divine. It's and the power and the force of power. Now, as this frightened little nugget sits in the heart of you, it's like it's getting the key to unlock the whole lot, which is love. Oh, I am the love of the divine I am, because you are the listening ocean to the terrified part that gets to breathe and be seen and be heard here now. I am the divine love that I am. And that is here humanly, it's here in the body right now. This human I is also of divine love. And that just means it's qualified. It's qualified to manage these huge, powerful, archetypal, elemental forces. It's qualified to breathe the phenomenal force of powerful creation, to welcome that back into the body. It's qualified to be conscious of this and the connection between being conscious of how you are consciously choosing. I get the word manipulate. It's like you think you're manipulating these forces. You're not. You're creating with them. Your story of manipulating, it's not real. It's not true. It's not there. We're just speaking this out so that the part of you that is feeling into this can feel whether it feels that's true or not. And they're asking, you guys are you the manipulator? Is that really true? Ask yourself and just see what moves in your heart when you ask that. Are you a manipulator? Or did you just learn to believe that you were from past, something in the past that's not here now? And I'm hearing the words, let the dark one rise. You need not fear her either. You know, they can sound like scary words, but you know what this is. This is you are the see her clearly. This hidden one, this buried one, this one that you believed was dark. See her clearly. Did she not arise from love? Will she not return to love? If she's not love that was made into a shape and then buried beneath a rubble of rocks because you couldn't stand the shape that she'd been made into, this is just what's hidden being uncovered. Consciously, you can be the love. You are the love that's listening to it. You can see the truth of anything in you that ever thought it was dark. You can see this and laugh lovingly. It was just a story. There's always love. And I'm hearing the words, you never were the manipulator. This is one of your guides, you're very old. You never were the manipulator. And they're always shaking there. You shouldn't believe this of yourself. I'm getting very like Red Indian tribal elders here. You shouldn't believe this of yourself. You are the creator. You work with the earth. You have not lost this. It is not forgotten. You remember what it is to be powerful, yes, and work with the forces of the earth. The mud and the soil, the flame and the fire, the sea and the streams, the wind. To be the breath of earth. To be the flame and the fire, to be the water in the stream and the trout that swims in it. To be the soil in the earth. You remember, beloved. It is in your Akash. It is written in. You know this in wholeness, and this is what's true. All else falls away. All else is not permanent in you. Nothing is permanent. As I'm speaking, I could feel you letting go of this. Whatever was rising up in your Akash, this kind of false idea of something that was keeping you afraid, it's just I can see it disintegrate. So I don't, something is going. Now they're showing me loving guides with their hands on your shoulders, just like keeping you steady. And reminding you that you don't have to know what this means. You don't have to suddenly know how to be a master who manipulates the elements of the earth. You don't need to know any of that. You just have to be here in this moment and release yourself from the past. Okay, and I'm just being shown you like taking off an outfit, stepping out of it, and that's just this dissolving into the soil. Okay, love, so what I'm getting now is you standing in the sun with your arms out. And the birds around you, and they're singing again. So it's like it's almost like a signature, isn't it, for you? And there's like they're signaling that they're in a circle, they're singing, and it's like they're closing this. They're not just closing it, they're returning to you the energy that was trapped in the one who needed to sleep, in the one who thought it wasn't what it is. So they're returning that beautiful creative life energy to you, inviting you now. We're going to move on, but while we move on, your invitation is to, to really invite that energy back into the body and stay with the really subtle flows of how forces are moving in you physically now. I know just what that feels like. So let's just rest. Welcome that energy back in, because I'm being shown that the birds are bringing it. It's golden, it's light, it's true. It's you. It's just you coming back to you, ready for this moment. And they're saying, don't worry about what this means in terms of desire. That is what gets to be revealed. What you've done has been with an unlocking. Yeah, a big yes to that. So now you get to discover and explore what happens now that unlocking has happened. Wow, it's like I've seen you just tunnel into the earth with that, like you're just bringing it all in and going in really deep, Kathy. So something in you is just going in real deep now. Yeah, it's lovely. This is the fairy tale image. I don't know if anyone knows the story of Hansel and Gretel, or was it Hansel and Gretel? The children who wandered into the woods and the birds came and put leaves over them. I'm getting that for you. It's like, right, you're in process now, and the birds are kind of like covering you to keep you safe while you're in this process. Mm. Mhm. Okay. Okay, and we're being very gently turned away to leave you in it. So everybody holding this, so we can imagine ourselves turning away from Kathy's process, knowing she's held in it. Exhale. Recenter in ourselves, each of us. Heartbeat. Breath. Body. You. Okay, thank you so much, Kathy, for bringing that. Thank you, everybody, for holding this movement. And each of us would have had something different go on for us in that process. Thank you, love. Right, so one more. One more. Okay, very gently does it. I'm just want to hear from Lee now, and just can feel the focus shifting to Lee. Lovely. So just be with you, be with your body, your breath. I know you'll have moved on from when you first wrote that first message. So it says, since the transmissions, I feel uncomfortability in the mind and body, irritability, overwhelmness, and tiredness. Is this part of the field clearing or blocks I need to revisit? And she says, feeling overloaded with information is common in my internal and physical mental. I long to be able to organize all these snippets of information. Can the guides offer advice? Okay, well, they've started. Let's just help that overwhelm and overload move. It's like a minute attention's with you, Lee. It's like everything is stacked up that needs to leave. Lots of things that you've taken in, and that's it. I'm just naming it. And that's beautiful. I can feel the clearing happening now. Just breathing for a moment, love. Mm. And before we go into it, what I'm feeling gather around you, the beings gathering around you, it's like they're bringing so much love, but there's such a compassionate, caring quality. There's like, oh, like looking out for your well-being and a little bit concerned about you and caring for how much you're holding. And that's the beings who are with you, work with you all the time, every day. That's what I'm getting from them. And this kind of holding you like this, like a lot of beings coming to hold you with this beautiful caring. Oh, a little bit worried. Not because anything's wrong, just because you're taking on more than you need to and more than is for you. So let's let some adjustments happen now. There's a beautiful truth that's trying to, it's almost emerging. It's like you, like an energetic version of you, and I'm almost seeing like a light version of you with this huge, beautiful, it looks like a sword of truth, like huge. But it's almost like it's not really fully allowed to be here. There's something not quite letting it be seen. It's a bit veiled. And I don't, for some reason, this is connected to oh, okay. So what they're showing me is what's wanted. And that's as your this beautiful sword of truth element of you, which is not the biggest part of you, but it's the part speaking now. This sword of truth can actually cut away. It can cut through everything that's not for you. It's one of your unique ways that you do this for yourself. And it will clarify what you do contain, what you do reconfigure, what you how you purify your own field. We're speaking to it, and as we're speaking to it, I'm feeling it's just be with the flow that you're feeling now, and this sense of giving permission for this sword to be wielded. Trust the one. Oh, right. So what I'm hearing from your guys, trust the one who wields this to know where it goes. Again, this is a shaking, a lack of confidence from past experience. You don't need to go into the past. Trust the one who knows how to wield this and where it goes. Because this sword isn't being wielded to destroy. What I'm actually seeing with this, when we're kind of tracking its natural motion, you can get this. This is lovely flow. It's a bit like Tai Chi, isn't it? The sword is listening to the flow. There's a very sensitive, intuitive sense of how you work with what comes into your field. So you're going to keep naming this because this is the part of you that wants to strengthen, that is inviting you to step more fully into it. There's this very close to the Arthurian knights here, and I'm just checking that's not a mind association, but there's something about, it's just not the most important thing here. It's like you're stepping into everything. Okay, everything that enters your field, beloved, you know where it goes. Not you, the one who thinks. You, the one who knows. Your sovereign self, your wisdom. I am that you are. There is nothing you need doubt yourself on around how to be with all the energies you interact with. You are very well configured to only receive that which you are well equipped to work with. This is a matter of releasing. So shall we say your equipment? And you release your equipment by trusting the hand that wields those tools. Your sword of light is such a tool. It is a piece of your equipment. Your sword of light weaves with light. It doesn't always just cut away. For some reason, it's as I'm speaking to this, what I was doing in my field is like it's been handed over to you now. I'm seeing you. There's still a bit of smudge around this, but it's like there's mist around this and it's clearing. I'm seeing, Lee, that in the past there's been one who's wielded the sword and has wielded it with the job of cutting away and destroying. And some part of you has, at some part in your path, got uncomfortable with that and recognized that this isn't what you prefer and how you would prefer to use this tool, this instrument. Not just, and so we're really, really reacquainting you with your preferred way of using this instrument, this sword of light, which is to guide, to weave the flow. So at the moment, if you can see yourself like an energy cell, you interact all the time, multi-dimensions, different energies enter your field, they are behaving different ways. You can see them as lines of light and patterns and frequencies, doing different things, carrying different information, catalyzing different activities. And there's a part of you effortlessly that knows how all of that goes, what flows where. It kind of knows exactly how this happens. Just getting reacquainted with a possibility that you can release this back to your higher awareness, release control of being the one who needs to know. Release control of being the one who needs to know. There you go. Give this job back to your higher self. That's it. I'm feeling this open out for you, love. I don't know what's going on for you there. This is a very simple, straightforward story of like a beautiful tool that you use to configure all the energies that come into your field. At some point, you didn't like how you used it, you shut it down. And so some part of your unconscious intelligence went, right, I must control that part and not let it open up. We're revisiting that, you're seeing it in the moment, and it's like, oh, I don't need to control that part. I release how this tool functions back to my innate intelligence, back to awareness. I release control. I release. Okay, now I'm seeing you back with this, like you're a white figure. There's a huge white sword of light. There's still a little bit of mist there, but there's a kind of a sense of purpose. And it suggests there's a little more to do around this, but you've got your direction. Let me just see if there's anything else that comes. Again, this is a sense of, it comes from the past, of seeing part of you is a little bit dark, you know, and that comes from the past. And that's where the smoke is, the kind of the screen. We really want to speak to that part that thinks it's in darkness, or it's been dark, or it's wielded the sword in a way that it shouldn't have, or it's carrying something. I'm being flippant because we need to be a bit light about this. It's just, it's not true. It's why it's not really dark. It's just an echo of a shadow, of a whisper of a memory, like a cobweb. Okay? Okay. That's it. That's it, right, great. Now I can see you, just beautiful white, bright. It's almost like you've got emblazoned on your chest colours that mean something. And I'm seeing a version of you that's got, it's angelic, almost like golden hair, but glowing, like there's a halo around you. This is a very divine archetype that knows how to wield the sword of light. And I can't see any more smoke in front of you, sweetheart. So I'm not sure how that landed for you, and how you're doing with that, my lovely. So but take a moment, don't rush to tell me, just be with what's going on for you. I'm going to invite you to really ask your body how it feels with the presence, the possibility of the presence of this archetype that was just being described. I'm going to close on that, but let's just be with that for a moment. Really let it into the body. The possibility of the presence of this golden archetype that manages how everything leaves and enters your field. Okay. Right, my lovely. Thank you so much. I'm just going to put people's responses up here, but let's all take a moment, breathe, recenter in ourselves, and there we go. And I'm just going to put our comments so we can see what we've been saying after these movements. Okay, so I'm just putting our little goodbyes up on the screen. Thank you so much. Right, my lovelies. It feels like I'm seeing us. Now, this is interesting. I'm seeing us gathered in the field, raising our arms, and it's almost like we're all made of golden light to rid of a maypole circle is, but raising our hands together and just celebrating each other for what we've done here today, what we've been for being here today, for being here for this. In this space, the bravery it took to step into this space and hold each other and listen to what's moving for each of us, and the love that we've really held each other with, and the beautiful presence we brought as everyone's been speaking and sharing, okay, typing and sharing and moving, and how each of us is, because of what we're bringing, each of us, the magic that we each bring to this field, creates a field with a shared intelligence. The field has a shared intelligence, and whatever needs to move for somebody, the more of us that are gathered in that beautiful focus with that beautiful purpose, the more that the shared intelligence of the field can just operate elegantly and gracefully and draw. And I know I've been doing the narrating, but that's kind of what it is. It's like narrating. It's speaking to what I can see, but what's being moved and how it's moving is because of all of us and what we're bringing. So in deep honoring to each of us, in deep honoring to the guides that come with us, our entourage, and those who popped in just to be with us for this. And a special thank you to the guide who spoke at the very beginning for the first part of our journey. Thank you. And so much love and gratitude. Thank you for staying on. We have gone so far over time, so you're wonderful. Thank you so much for staying on and being with it way over time. I know not everyone could, but nearly all of you did, and that's amazing. So yes, that's just been for me a real special event. So time to say goodbye to each other. If you want to say goodbye in the comments, and go for it. But saying goodbye in our hearts, And thank you to each other for what we've shared here today. You're amazing. It is such a privilege to be with this. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Well, have a beautiful rest of Sunday, guys. Amazing to have sat with you today. Bye for now.